What's up, guys? SAG here. Welcome to another video here in NBA Spread Talk with your humble host, Christopher Smithies. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving yesterday. There was no NBA action yesterday, so I got to dig in some extra research. 2 days ago, we had our first episode. It wasn't too bad. Sorry, some of my eye there. So let's take a look at how we did yesterday. In our money picks, we went 2-2. The Lakers actually worked that line shot up to about 6.5 with Anthony Davis out. The Bulls ended up losing to the Rockets, so that was unfortunate. The Hawks, they beat up the Spurs, and the Blazers lose to the Kings. So we went 2-2 money picks. We went 4-2 in average picks, and we went 0-3 in avoid picks. So it right now the formula is going pretty decent. Could have done better in money picks, but again, it's just one day. We're back at it. My average picks was pretty good. Let's get this money. Let's have a blast, guys. I'm just grateful for you all being here. So we have a nice slate of action here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have 12 games, 24 teams in action coming off a day off here. So let's get this underway. We're going to start with the early game here. Let me just scroll down here. The Clippers. This line's been maneuvering around. The Detroit Pistons are heading over to LA to take on the Clippers. I saw you can get Detroit about a plus 13. The Clippers are at about minus 11. That could have went to minus 11.5. It's something around that range. Looking at Detroit, they're 3-2 in the last 5 against the spread. They're 3-5 as an away underdog against the spread. They failed to cover last one against Milwaukee, even though they were underdogs by about 15 points. They still couldn't cover that. 2-2 against the West against the spread. 2-4 at equal rest, and 8-5 after a loss, which is quite often. Let's be real. So the Clippers are about 2-3 in the last 5. They're 3-4 after a loss. They're They're 1-3 against the East, and they're 6-6 as a home favorite. Looking at the injury report, we're just gonna scroll her down here. Frank Jackson is probably going to play in this game, so you don't have to worry about that. And Killian Hayes is doubtful. Likely he's not going to play with that thumb injury, which is a big blow. But still, they do have Frank Jackson coming off the bench. Joseph likely gets to start the 1. Looking at the Clippers lineup, only Nicholas Batum out. They got their main lineup here. Looking at probably Bledsoe, Jackson, George, Morris, and Zubac. It's a very interesting one here, guys. This number is pretty high to me. It speaks volumes, and we're coming off Thanksgiving. You know, the road teams are going to be more off here because they had to travel. They didn't get to go home and eat, so they're not all relaxed. They'll be more ready in these games. But I can't trust the Pistons on the road. I just can't trust them. They just don't show up. They're not that good of a team. The Clippers have some decent players, but I don't fully trust them either. Guys, to me, this speaks avoid pick. Avoid this game. Don't touch it because this number is a bit too high for me, in my opinion. But the Pistons are just that bad away that, in my opinion, we cannot take them. So give me the Clippers minus 11, but this will be an avoid pick for this one. So right after that, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves taking on that was early game at 3:30, by the way. Timberwolves are taking on the Hornets. You could get the Timberwolves at about 2.5, and the Hornets you can get a 2. So minus 2 is around the line. So let's look at some stats to start this one off. Timberwolves 5-0 in their last 5 against the spread. They've been on fire. Got a big win against the Heat at home. 2-3 as an away underdog. 2-1 against the East, and 4-4 after a win. Looking at the Hornets, they're 3-2 in their last 5 against the spread. They beat the Magic by 7 last time, but could not cover away. The line was out about 7. They won by 6, I believe. It was around a push. Sorry, the line was 8. They won by 7. It was nearly a push, but we give it to the Magic there. And that was an away game. But look at this. The Hornets are 6-2 against the spread at home. 6-5 after a win. So that's not the greatest, but it was against a bad team, and they're 3-4 against the spread against the West. Looking at the injury report, only for the Timberwolves, Josh Okogie is questionable, and Patrick Beverley is out for this one. Mason Plumlee for the Hornets is questionable. That's important that they have Plumlee at that center to guard Towns. They're going to need a solid center, so watch that. But honestly, guys, to me, this is an average pick. I'm going to go with the Hornets -2. Look, the Timberwolves have been playing amazing ball, but they're due for a letdown. They're due for a letdown, guys. I think it comes in the road. It's hard to beat Charlotte at home. They cover spreads and they win games at home because they have the momentum of the crowd. Coming off a road game, I think the Hornets won't be too rested here, but they'll be ready for this game. I think the Hornets go out and win this game, and they cover the spread. I just really have a good feeling about them at home and snapping Minnesota's winning streak. Minnesota's playing great ball. They beat Miami by a lot. Edwards is playing great, but LaMelo and Bridges, they can shut that down. I know they can. They got this. To me, I'm going to go with the Hornets at home, -2. That's a pretty low number to me. So next up here, we have the Phoenix Suns at -2.5. Going to Madison Square Garden to play the Knicks at +3. Phoenix in their last 5 is 1-4 against the spread, but a lot of these games have been pushes. For example, the Cleveland game, their last game, they played Cleveland. They won by 5, and they're favored by around 7 or 6. So it goes to show they're winning games. They're winning a lot of games, but they're not covering spreads. So this is really, that's a worrisome thing, but this number is way lower on the road at MSG. They're 1-2 against spread versus the East, and they're 3-3 as an away favorite. The Knicks are 2-3 against the spread in their last 5, coming off a win at LA with a huge comeback. They're 4-6 against the spread at home, 2-7 against the spread after a win, and 2-1 as an underdog. They've just been mediocre this year. Sophomore slumps can happen. The Knicks just haven't been playing the greatest this year, if we're going to be real. And they've definitely not been covering spreads. Nothing really for the Suns in terms of injury news, but there's a lot for the Knicks here. Rose, Gibson, and Robinson are all questionable for this one. I mean, I don't know. I expect Mitchell Robinson to play. He has a concussion. I don't know if Derrick Rose plays this game. They might give him this game off. But in my opinion, guys, the Knicks just came off a big win at home. You know, they were with the family. They were having a good time. You know, Thanksgiving. They were having a nice one. Guys, give me the Suns -2.5. This number is it's too low to really rig it in a certain fashion, I think. I think the Suns win outright. Maybe get a couple extra free throws in there. I think the Suns are just better. They're playing too good to really not cover this number. I know it's at MSG, but the Suns are a bit too good. I feel like the Knicks, they're going to be a bit lackadaisical coming off Thanksgiving, really, and that nice day off. So, guys, give me the Suns -2.5. And the Knicks have injury issues. So, if 2 of these 3 don't play, that's going to have a big effect on how they're going to play. I know they have point guard depth, but they don't have big depth. So they need Gibson to play, and they definitely need Robinson to play, or else the Suns are going to absolutely beat them down. With DeAndre Ayton at the 5, the Knicks need Mitchell Robinson in the game. They need him in the game. So that's my prediction there. Moving on, we have the Chicago Bulls, -8. We got burned by them. Going to Orlando, was at +8.5. Chicago's 2-3 in their last 5 against the spread, 4-2 against the spread after a loss, and 4-1 against the spread as an away favorite. That one loss coming to the Rockets, and they're 6-4 against the spread against the East. Sorry, guys, my throat. Orlando's 4-1 against the spread in the last 5. They're 2-6 as a home underdog. They're 6-9 versus the East. So let's just take a look here quickly at the injury report for this one. And only news is for Orlando. Cole Anthony and Terrence Ross are questionable. Now, if Cole Anthony doesn't play, I mean, this is going to be tough for the Magic to bring it together. Because now they got to start Suggs at the 1. They at least got Gary Harris back. Harris, Wagner, Carter Jr., and Bamba against Lonzo, DeRozan, Levine, Vucevic. I mean, Vucevic is not an injury report. He's playing this game, guys, for sure. So, I mean, this is a tough one. The Bulls are +8 in this one, guys. Make this a money pick. We are doubling down on the Bulls. They got to have a bounce back game soon. Orlando is playing another game at home. They're rested at home. They're going to be a bit too relaxed, in my opinion. I think the Bulls come here strong. They get in a reality check. We just lost to the Rockets. That's just a new low. The 1-15 Rockets we just lost to. They're going to bounce back, and they're going to smack the Magic. The Magic are not that good, guys, especially if Cole Anthony doesn't play. The Magic are really bad. They're just bad. Against a team like the Bulls, they can smack a team like the Magic. They'll bring them back to reality. I think and the Magic competed last game. They didn't get blown out. They responded from a blowout, which is why I picked them. They responded from a blowout and made the game against Charlotte a competitive game. But I'm telling you guys, the Bulls are going to lay the smackdown on these guys. The Bulls we're going to double down on the Bulls here. Money pick, guys. Put your money. I know we lost some Bulls. We got to double down on this one. Chicago, -8. You can't be afraid to bet a team after you lose off them. You can't be. And I'm not afraid here. I think Chicago takes this. Next up, we have the Washington Wizards playing the Oklahoma City Thunder. Washington is 1-4 in their last 5. They're 3-6 against the spread away, and they're 2-1 against the West. Looking at Oklahoma City, they're 5-0 in their last 5 against the spread. They're 6-3 at home, and they're 3-3 versus the East. They've been really covering spreads. They've been making games competitive. Guys, I told you to avoid this OKC-Utah game because it was in OKC. It's a way too big of a number. Utah won, but OKC covered because they compete. They're a young team that competes. Even without Shea, they competed really well. While Washington, they got blown out against New Orleans. Just a complete no-show. So, really, their back is against the wall. They come off a tough loss against Charlotte, and they don't play well against New Orleans. It's kind of tough to read this team. Where will they be at? They're still getting strong performances from Harrell, but it's going to be interesting where they're at. But before I go to my pick here, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is out for this game. He's not playing. It's for sure he's not playing. And Davis Bertans is only injury news for the Wizards. We might see some small ball here for the Wizards. Maybe you see Harrell at the 5 in this one. It's possible. But looking at this, guys, give me the Wizards -7. No Shea in this game. OKC played really well last game. Again, Thanksgiving at home. They enjoying their life a bit too much. The Wizards need to win. They need to respond, and they're going to respond big time. -7 is a high number for the Wizards. I think it's because Vegas knows that the Wizards are going to respond. They know the Wizards are a decent team. They're going to lay the smackdown on the Thunder. I just think the Thunder can't make this close. All these factors in, the Wizards are ready to play. They're going to be ready because they just got humiliated by a terrible team in the Pelicans. So that's going to be my pick for that. It's only an average pick, but give me the Wizards -7. Next up, we have Atlanta versus Memphis. This is basically a money line game, but you could say it's -1 for Memphis. Looking at Atlanta, we cashed some money on them. They were one of our money picks. They're 4-1 in the last 5 against the spread, including 2-7 versus the West, 1-9 on the road, 6-5 with equal rest. One of those wins was the last one against San Antonio where they showed out. Gotta give them credit. They played really well. And here's another team we cashed some money against this time, Memphis. We took the Raptors as an average pick. The Raptors end up getting the job done, playing really well, getting an outright win. Not just covering, but getting outright win. Memphis got a really humiliation there. Memphis 3-2 against the spread in the last 5. They're 6-4 at home. They're only 1-4 against the East. And they're 5-5 on equal rest. Looking at the injury report here, Trae Young will likely play. So Trae Young will be in the game, likely. We expect him to play with the ankle injury. Bogdan Bogdanovic is questionable. They think he's going to play, but it's not for sure. It's questionable. For the Grizzlies, D'Anthony Melton is questionable, and Sam Morrell is out. Nothing too big there for the Grizzlies. Guys, I think we are just ought to avoid this game because I know, this is a money line game. I know Memphis came off a bad game, and they need to respond. But they're not that good. I can't get a grasp of this game. I really cannot. This line speaks to me that Trae Young's playing. So Trae Young is definitely playing. But this line doesn't say anything to me, really, if I'm just being honest. I think we just ought to avoid this game. Enjoy it, but don't pick this. But if I were to pick, I'll take Memphis to bounce back, -1. That's an avoid pick right there for you guys. Next up, we have the Raptors, who are +4.5. I saw a line there, and up the Pacers. You catch around the Pacers around -3.5 if you're looking really hard. Raptors are 2-3 and against the spread in the last 5, coming off a big away win against Memphis after losing in Golden State. 7-4 against the spread as an away underdog, but they're only 3-5 against the spread after a win, and 6-7 versus the East. Indiana's 2-3 in the last 5 against the spread. Came off a tough one against the Lakers. They're going to be looking to bounce back here, in my opinion. They're 10-10 against the spread this season. They're 3-2 as a road favorite, and they're 6-5 after a loss against the spread. Looking at the injury report here, this is a big one. We got to see OG's status. Kem Burke is officially out, so that's big. Pat, they're going to have to start either Siakam maybe or Precious Achua. And OG Anunoby is only questionable, so we might see him in the lineup. We might. That's a big difference, though, if OG's playing. In my opinion, this line speaks to me that OG isn't playing. My bad. Isn't playing, because if OG was playing, I think this line would be more even. I don't think you'd be able to catch the Pacers at -3.5 here. So, looking at this one, it's interesting. The Raptors are coming off a big win. They're on the last game of a road trip. And Indiana is still at home. They came back to the house, and they had a tough loss against Cleveland where they didn't show up. To me, this is a double revenge game for Indiana. This speaks to me a bounce-back game from Indiana. Guys, I'm taking Indiana -3.5. I think they're going to show out this game, and they're going to get the outright win. Sometimes it's hard to pick Indiana, but lately they've been playing some pretty decent defense, either against the Lakers. I know they really wanted to beat the Lakers, and it's going to be tough for them. They're going to really bounce back in this game at home. I think they're ready for this one. Give me the Indiana Pacers as an average pick at -3.5. Next game here we have, let me just scroll down. We have the Boston Celtics, who are at -3, coming off a tough loss at home against the Brooklyn Nets, against the San Antonio Spurs, who are +3 here, who had a humiliating loss against the Hawks. Boston 2-3 in their last 5 against the spread. They're 4-1 against the West. They're 4-0 as an away favorite, and they're 5-3. This is all against the spread after a loss. San Antonio's 1-4 in their last 5, 6-6 after a loss against the spread, 3-3 versus the East, and 2-3 as a home underdog. Looking at the injury report here for the Boston Celtics, Jaylen Brown's questionable. He played last game. Josh Richardson is doubtful, so I don't think we'll see Josh Richardson, and Robert Williams is out. For the Spurs, Doug McDermott is questionable, and so is Devin Vassell. So, interesting. We got to keep stats on Jaylen Brown. All right, we got to keep tight, because if he plays, then I think we definitely take the Celtics here. But it's a weird line to me. I feel like Vegas is saying something, because to me, Boston would be more of a favorite than 3. I think this is great value for Boston. But I just think the Spurs are just that bad. I think they're going to lose here. I think Brown plays, and I think the Celtics take this. Give me the Celtics -3 as an average pick. I'm not for sure about this, but I think the Celtics come out to play. They just came off a loss at home. Even though they're going to their first road game after a home game, I think they're going to be ready, because they just came off a loss in prime time. They want to respond after that. What's up, bro? Sorry about that, guys. Just had some technical difficulties. So moving on, as I said, Boston's going to be an average pick for this one. Next up, we have the Milwaukee Bucks at -3.5, going up against Denver at +4. Interesting one. Denver's been really struggling lately, but let's look at Milwaukee first. They're 2-3 against the spread in their last 5. 4-1 as a road favorite. 4-6 against the spread after a win, and 1-5 against the West. They've really been playing bad against the West. They came off a nice cover against Detroit. They've been known to take care of Detroit against the spread. Denver's 0-5 in their last 5, 3-3 against the East, and 2-1 as a home underdog. They've been on a 5-game losing streak, playing horribly. But this is where it gets interesting. News here for the injury report. Rodney Hood is probable for Milwaukee, but here's the big one. Nikola Jokic is questionable. He might play this game. No Michael Porter Jr., but Jokic might play. And this will be so needed for Denver. And I think this line at +4 is telling us that Jokic will play, because they wouldn't release this if they didn't know Jokic is going to play. So it'll be interesting. Denver's losing right now. Milwaukee's winning. Denver needs a win at home. Milwaukee's coming from the road from Milwaukee to Denver in the altitude. I don't really have a grasp in this game. But guys, if I were to pick someone, this is an avoid pick. We're going to avoid this one. Give me Milwaukee minus 3.5. I just think they're a bit better than Denver. I just think Denver is that bad. But if Jokic plays, I don't want anything to do with this game because I think Denver, I really don't know, honestly, in this one. Denver could cover, but I just don't trust them right now, especially with Michael Porter Jr. out and no Jamal Murray. I don't know if they can cover against a good Bucks team, but I feel like this number is saying something at the same time. So next up, we have the New Orleans Pelicans going on the road at Utah, who's a minus 12 favorite. That's a big number. Pelicans 2-3 against the spread in the last 5. They had a blowout win against Washington, was much needed. I think it improves on the 4-16. They've been struggling this year. 2-8 against the spread as an away underdog. 4-7 against the West. 1-2 against the spread after a win. Utah 3-2 in their last 5. 5-4 as a home favorite, and 5-3 against the West. Looking at the lineups here, the only injury to report here is Royce O'Neal is questionable, so basically everyone's going to be in for this one. Looking at this, guys, the Jazz come off a close one on the road. I guess their first game back at home, but I think this isn't going to matter. I think the Pelicans are just that bad to me. I think they're coming off, the Pelicans are feeling good, coming off a win, but they're not that close knit. They're not going to pull together consecutive wins like this. Give me Utah minus 12. I feel like this number is high for a reason. Vegas knows Utah's going to come out and dominate. So, guys, give me Utah minus 12 in this one. I just think New Orleans isn't that good. Utah's at home, which helps them a lot. And I think they go and they cover this one. This is a high number. This is why it's not a money pick, but it's an average pick. Utah minus 12 to cover here. Next game we have here, second last one of the day, is the Portland Trailblazers coming off a tough loss. They're heading to Golden State, who are literal flamethrowers right now, on fire. And Golden State is favored by minus 6.5. They are at home, but man, Portland in the last 5, they're 3-2 against the spread. 0-4 as an away underdog. 4-4 after a loss, and 6-6 against the West. Definition of mediocrity to me. Golden State's 5-0 against the spread in their last 5. 8-2-1 as a home favorite. 5-3-1 in conference games, and 6-2 with equal rest. I mean, guys, Golden State's just playing amazing, guys. Nothing else I can say. Anthony Simmons is questionable. Cody Zeller is questionable for the Trailblazers. And for the Warriors, Iguodala is out. I mean, guys, who's going to stop Golden State right now? Which team will stop them? Because they are playing such great ball. If Golden State was on the road, I would consider Portland here. But since they're at home, they're playing on fire, I'll take Golden State minus 6.5. They're just, not only are they winning games, guys, they're covering spreads. It's not like these games are rigged against. No, they're out to prove something. And I feel like at home, Portland won't be the team to stop them. So give me Golden State minus 6.5. I'm not too confident in them, so I won't make it a money pick. Make it an average pick. Golden State minus 6.5. Last game of the night, we have the Sacramento Kings heading to LA to play the LA Lakers, who came off a big win in Indiana, first game at home. Looking at Sacramento, they're 1-4 against the spread in the last 5. They're 3-3 as an away underdog, 2-4 against the spread after a win, and 6-8 against the West. They just came off a big win. First win for Alvin Gentry against the Blazers. They played really well there. The Lakers are 2-3 in their last 5. 3-7 as a home favorite. 2-9 against the West, and only 2-7 after a win. Guys, the Lakers stink, man. I know they got the win, but they're bad. But here's the big thing I want you guys to watch out for. Check the injury report, because this one's big. For the Kings, Rashawn Holmes with his eye and Harrison Barnes are both questionable, and LeBron is questionable too. So this is an interesting one. But if Rashawn Holmes and Harrison Barnes play, guys, give me the Kings. I don't care if one of them plays. Give me the Kings plus 7.5. This Lakers team is not good enough to be a more than two possession favorite against any team. I don't care who it is. And the Kings, they're starting to respond. They shoot the ball well. Again, the Lakers defense is awful. So maybe take the over on this one. Take a look at that. But the Kings can keep up with the Lakers. They can. The Kings can keep up with the Lakers. Trust me, guys. The Kings they're not that good. But the Lakers are just so bad. They can't be a favorite by -7. They cannot be. To me, LeBron might be out too. So if LeBron's out, then the Kings definitely will cover here. Guys, the Kings are going to be a bit motivated. They got the new coach. They finally got a win. They might have some wind under them. Guys, give me the Kings plus 7.5. Make it a money pick. Only the second money pick today. Guys, I'm feeling really well about this one, about the Kings. Give me the Kings plus 7.5. And we'll take them anywhere like 6, even 5, I take them. But nothing under 5. Okay, guys, so let's just take a look over. It should be on the screen. My picks for today. Money picks are the Bulls -8, the Kings plus 7.5. So put your money on that. Trust me, guys, put your money on that. For your average picks, I'm taking the Hornets -2, the Suns -2.5, the Wizards -7, the Pacers -3.5, Boston -3, Utah -12, and Golden State -6.5. For the avoid picks, I'm taking the Clippers -11, Memphis -1, and Milwaukee -3.5. Taking a lot of favorites here. So, guys, I hope comment, and subscribe. Hopefully, we can cash these tickets, and I hope you all have a great day. God bless.